Theatre of the Mind live number 251 Monday evening. Let me just check I've got everything in place. Let me just take care of something first. Right. Where are we? Let me have a look. Right, we'll get into the parish notes in just a second or two. Let me just move a few things around, and hopefully we will get into that. Lovely. So welcome to the live. Feels a bit weird. I'm not quite sure why tonight, but it just feels a bit. Don't know. Wow. Loads of people chatting away merrily. Des Ashton, hi everyone. Great 250th, Adrian. So much going on. Wonder what we will start with. Let's straight in. Israel Gaza joke ceasefire will be a good start. Maybe. Paulie got the area. Evening, Des. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. Paulie says, good evening, Adrian. You're utter wrong and hope you've had a good day. It's been very productive today. Very productive. But welcome to the body of the Kirk, Paulie. And hang on, I'm just trying to work out my eyesight here. It looks a bit... the camera looks bizarrely a bit... And this has happened a few times. It looks a bit... as if it's got a coating of Vaseline on it. That's how they used to do it for the old movie stars. They wanted them to make them look good. It just doesn't look sharp for some inexplicable reason, and the YouTube doesn't look sharp compared to my iPhone. Anyway, Stuart, evening, Adrian. Really enjoyed the quiz last night. Had great fun taking part. Now it's back to what's happening in the world as usual. So much where to begin. We're going to play catch up tonight and Wednesday. Obviously, tomorrow night's going to be my Mankind Project evening, so my charity work continues. Next man, and we're just going to play catch up with everything. I mean, I'm not sure I'll be able to play catch up with the whole of the Prince Andrew story, but over the next few days, I'm just going to reveal some bombshells to do with the royal family. Well, you know me, ever the truth. So we'll talk about that. I mean, I won't tell you. You'll have to wait. David says, evening, y'all, for episode 251. By the way, I've just watched Dougie and Jim Davidson talk about the late, great Danny LaRue on YouTube today. The stories about Danny were hilarious. Didn't they have anything better to talk about than some old drag queen? I'm talking about Danny LaRue before you start. Anyway, I see that Sean Dyche has agreed apparently to be the new manager of Nottingham Forest. Oh, and Danny Roll is the new manager of Glasgow Rangers as well. I'm not sure. I mean, I know there's some consternation as to whether Dyche has actually agreed to manage Nottingham Forest. But normally, and we had sort of David Moyes and we had a couple of others at Sunderland who were supposedly hard men. So I don't know whether they've lost the dressing room completely, whether the dressing room wouldn't play for Postecoglou. But it looks like the club is being run by the players. So just stick Sean Dyche in. He'll sort them out. Or my favourite, because I know loads of stories. The old Borough manager, I can't remember his name now. Jesus. Tough boy. He was a tough boy. And because I believe the players are now running football, not the managers. Well, the agents more than the players, but the players more than the managers. And I just don't... I think the managers need to get a grip of what's going on, which is why Sunderland, with all the young guys, is doing fantastically well. Because, unless you're Joe Bellingham, who thought he was the next slice of Battenberg, and he's not. So he's going to have to learn. He's got a few years of learning to do, but he's Daddy Bellingham, who's getting a divorce, went in and was telling the manager what's what, or was it the head of football at the club? But Joe Bellingham, he wasn't doing brilliantly for Sunderland. He was just a squad player as far as I was concerned, never his brother. And now his brother's being told by the England manager, well, you can bring yourself down a peg or two. You might not go to the World Cup next year because I'm not sure whether I want you in my side. Oh, I say. Loving a bit of Tuchel. Loving a bit of, right, I'm the manager. You're the player. You'll do what the... I tell you. None of this, I want to play this. I want to do this. I want to do... You'll do goal. You might have a few bob, but you... My team, I'm the manager. Do as you're told. Love it, love it, love it. And maybe the new, the Brian Clough version of football is going to come back, which is players will do as they're told. They'll get rewarded, but they'll do as they're told. The manager has the last say. And anybody that's doing the manager's knees or his back in front of everybody else and the dressing room, well. So, Dyche, good for turning a dressing room around. Donald Trump at the White House with the Australian Prime Minister. I think the Aussie is called Anthony Albanese. Well, he would do, wouldn't he, David? Battenberg, a cake, of course, the name of European royal family in years gone by. Blimey, have you been having coffee just before you've come into the body of the Kirk, David? Les Griffiths, nearer to home, Buckingham Palace has confirmed Prince Andrew is a fanny with ears. What's he doing with Fergie then? David Graham, Les, and King Charlie Boy has gone to Manchester Synagogue. Interesting. Why would he go? Well, why? Well, of course. Is he? He's changed his leaning. Mind you, 3i Atlas, which we will talk about tonight. And if they land and go Allahu Akbar, then we're all in the shite. But Charlie going to Manchester, what's he? Has he not been well recently? Is he? I mean, I thought he'd be gone by Christmas. But seemingly he's still baggering on, as Churchill once said. And I do wish the king a long life and good health, because he needs it. Met Police drop probe into comedian Graham Linehan over 3 gender tweets. Yeah, we're going to talk about that tonight. Common sense coming back. Can you just feel it? Because Starmer, face like a smacked arse. He's walking around trying to be mate with Trump. And Trump's like, I don't weird shite, man. And then, she ping pong, hello, G mate. It's, it's me, Kia. No, not a car. No, Sir Kia Starmer. What do you mean? Golf. Oh, right. Is that Chinese or Mandarin? And Les says Charlie's in a lot of trouble, David. I'm sure he is. I mean, the Poison Chalice, does William really want to be the big fella? Breaking news, Met Police will no longer investigate non-crime hate incidents. Yahoo, about time. Yeah, we're going to talk about that, David. Lead Wook fits in the body of the house. Not as big a win as you think. They investigate all incidents, but when it's determined it's not a crime, they shelve it. That's not my take on it. But we will talk about the, he's kind of chief constable, but because he's in London, he has to be like, Batman. Chief Commissioner, Commissioner Gordon. Oh, honestly, I can't wait until they get a chief constable in the Met that's called, family name's Gordon. Can you imagine? Commissioner Gordon. Batman. Tom Harney's Evening All, as a wrong-un philosopher once said, he don't sweat much for a rich lad. That's very good, Tom. Very, very good. And Andy Turner, I read Pizza Hut is in the shite. It should have taken cash. Next to go will be Starbucks, as here in Zante. Yeah. If you go woke, you go broke. Bless them. Leave them to it. Because we're just going to vote with our feet. Mind you, are you watching the price of gold and silver? Keep your eye on it. I'll make a prediction. Trump's only got 6 months or so to sort America out. That 37? Blimey, 37? Oh, Adrian, I do say. The $37 trillion debt has got to be dealt with. And he's going to try, but just keep watching because gold's going to go... going to watch West Ham and Brentford on Sky tonight, but I will miss the first minute because they're taking the knee again. Oh, dear Lord. Why do they do a Freemasonic ritual before kickoff? From my understanding, that's not. It's, what's his face? The druggie in America. Has anyone ever watched Bruce Unfiltered? Seems on the ball. No, Andy, but thank you for the recommendation. 68 Pizza Huts shops to close. You would say they might have no dough left. Bless. At least it's not Pizza Express, and then Andy really would be sweating. That's Prince Andrew, who one night decided to take his daughter Beatrice to Pizza Express, which, if you know about Pizzagate, of course he would go to Pizza Express or Pizza Land or Pizza World or Pizza Hut. You do understand the Pizzagate reference to Andrew, don't you? Right. Beata, most footballers are not British now, so they're taking the knee to each other. Of course. Welcome, Beata. Welcome to the Body of the Kirk. And I see you. Good evening. Louise Hampson. Good evening. All Robbins. Hope you've had a great day. Well, it's been Monday. Monday's always a challenge-ish. So welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Body of the Kirk. I'm a bit argumentative tonight. No change there. I might end up being a bit ranty later. Oh, hang on a second. What's BD Cool saying? Let me just... yeah, they've been putting promos out. Because, look, this is the deal, right? Ustream. Jim Davidson wants to get more subscribers. He wants to make more money. It's a business. Of course, it's a model. It's a business model. He wants to make more money. And he got... I mean, all I can say is, if any actor in Hollywood wants to learn how to put weight on quickly and massively, go and have a word with Dougie. Fat lad now, even fatter than Lammy. Stuart says there was a Pizza Hut around the corner from my house, but it closed down after 3 weeks. Should have told Andrew it was Pizza Express. He'd have been round like a shot. And the book's released tomorrow. Now, I'm not quite sure whether I am or I'm not. The last time I tried to order a book from Amazon, they said, "Oh, no, we've run out. We can't send it for days." Well, all right, then I'm not buying it. Okay, then. So, Simon Clarkson, 80. Yeah, wrong. Cheers, Simon, and BD Cool, and Beata. All welcome to the Body of the Kirk. Let me just make sure I've got that, because we're heading around to... well, BD Cool, you say, hello, Chunky comes to mind. You can say that. And in certain regards, it would be correct, but not Chunky Myers. I was Chunky Butt, B-U-T-T, at Radio Teasing and TFM. Myers was Chunky, because Myers was he was a big old unit. I mean, he was, what, 6'4"? It's all relative, I suppose. So, Chunky, he's nicked that as well. BD Cool, I always read that DB Cooper lend us a fiver, buddy. I always read that as DB Cooper. Brilliant. Wasn't DB Cooper the guy that jumped out of the back of a plane? Right. I see the. I'm a bit confused. If a judge issues a ban, this is according to Les Griffiths, on someone, prohibiting them going on social media, doesn't that include as a guest too? The judge hasn't banned him from social media. It's MAPA, who believe he's at high risk of reoffending. So they're trying to stop him from reoffending, because they don't... Look, the system doesn't want anybody to go back in jail because they've got no spaces. And if anybody is like out, and he came out at the trial and got 5.5 years for it, not for coming out, for just being a twat. In my view, and this is a social commentary channel, so I can have a view on absolutely anything. So, if he hasn't uploaded it, if it's an independent website that's uploading it, I think he can get away with it. But I think they wanted him... look, there's loads of stuff going on in the background. Loads of stuff. And there's some reasons why I won't bring it here. mainly because it just inflames the convicted stalker. And I think the zeitgeist on social media now is rage baiting, because if you look at YouTube, it's all about getting them on there and making money from views. On X, it's all about the comments. So if you put something up there that really doesn't get any reaction, if you rage bait people, then it's, hang on a second, that's better. I'm looking, sorry, just to digress, I'm looking at my feed for the live, and it really does look as if it's got some Vaseline all over the bloody, but it doesn't, because what I'm looking at is much crisper and sharper, so it must be a YouTube thing. Mind you, half of the internet went down today. So Amazon seemingly have got all these servers that everybody else is kind of piggybacking on. Never knew that. And they've it's gone to shite today. All of it. Oh, half of it. BD Cool. I've got a feeling he's going to appear on that Heretics channel. Well, these people are gonna work out that all these people that kind of go on social media and go, oh, he's wonderful, he's fabulous, they're fucking bots. Don't you get? They've got a bot farm. They've got a man that lectures at Oxford University in Python as part of the team. Evening, Giles. Been a long time, mate. But I hear you're very good at it. So they're not real people. And that's why he's hiding behind varying bits and pieces, because he's being told he can't. And it's up to Mapper to find out whether he is or he isn't. God, that's warm. So, as I say, there's bits and pieces going on in the background that I think it would be really unfair to bring to the public domain, because it benefits no one. And I can categorically say my sage advice stands for Dougie. Always has done. So if Dougie goes on Heretics, he'll get found out. Because sooner or later they're going to ask him questions that he doesn't want to answer. Like, where's the money gone? Oh, well, no, just, it's called fraud. Where'd the money go? All the money that you wanted to sue the BBC, to sue Nottinghamshire Police, and where did it go? And from what I understand, there are people that have hold of that, and there is a fraud case happening in the background. So it's not over. And look, when the thin blue line gets involved, of course, so we'll get to that in a second. Hang on a second. Dr. 69 said, I'm glad you said it's misty. I thought I was getting cataracts. So it's not over. And I will just say to you that Journalists and Heretics is run by Andrew Gold. He's a journalist. So Jim dealt with Dougie with kid gloves and asked him some stuff, but Dougie did what Dougie always does. He just deflects and goes somewhere else. And I saw some tweets on X. I mean, I'm not sure it's still Twitter. Evening, Stephen. So it's so a journalist will want some information or has some information, and basically, as you've heard me say many times on here, right of reply. So every time that Dougie was mentioning me, I had a right of reply. And I just used this channel because I don't have access to his. So the journalists now will start asking stuff and will see that there's a very poorly boy sitting in front of them. And I would hazard a guess that if it goes up on YouTube, which is social media, as is X, as is, I'm not quite sure how he's getting away with being on X, because that is a social media platform. But he can, in his defense, say it wasn't me, it was Jim Davidson, nothing to do with me. Jim Davidson's team did that. Okay, I get that. But if he's interviewed by a journalist and it's uploaded to a private website, I think he can get away with that. Cuban Pete, have you been sniffing the barmaid's apron again? Evening, Mary Ellen. Les? Night, John Boy. Can you send my wife some prayers for tomorrow? We should know if she has cancer or it's a false alarm. It's suspected and most likely on the letter. Okay. We do, Andrew. I'm sure I can speak for the body of the Kirk. We do wish both you and your wife well for tomorrow. Assuming he has actually been told by Mappa or the probation service to wind his neck in, do you think if he had asked Jim Davidson not to broadcast it, Jim Davidson would have gone ahead and aired it? No. No, it wouldn't serve him. Jim Davidson, that is. But having seen the interview, I think Jim was fair. There were no loaded questions, obviously. But I just felt Jim was a bit bored near the end of the... I don't know how long the interview was. It could have been 2 or 3 hours. And they've just edited the best bits. So, yeah, I agree. I think what I'll do now is I'm not gonna betray trusts. Full stop. Well, it's business, Les. It's business. So if Dougie's going to bring people to the platform and he's going to get more subs, that's the name of the game. See what I did there? And that's the whole game. That's the whole game. So tonight, what are we going to talk about? Well, there is a lot. 3i Atlas, is it scaring you yet? Should be. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about digital ID. Remember me telling you? No, but you see, these people on YouTube and on social media, they're as thick as pig shite. They don't actually look at stuff and read into stuff. So the Seville commitment in Spain that Starmer went out, it was an international treaty, so he could sign it and nobody could stop him. The Seville commitment is going to stop Farage and Reform getting rid of stuff. Because if you look at whether it's Trump and the Democrats, whether it's Reform and Labour, what they're trying to do is they're trying to cut off the rulers' exits. So this Seville commitment, which is a European-wide commitment, it means that when Farage comes into power, he can't change anything because it's in international law. He can't change anything. If it was me, I'd say to the Europeans, fuck off. Oh, sorry, you want it in French and German and Italian? I'll just get my translators to tell you. Fuck off. Because the last time we got upset with Europe, we kicked the shit out of you. If you want that doing again, then just tell us. International law? How do we ensure you didn't go and arrest Netanyahu, did you, when an international warrant was set out for his arrest? Oh, no. And you're telling us we can't change the laws in our own country. You, that's the Europeans, Ursula von der Leyen, bitch, you don't run this country, except we've lost control of our borders. Now, they admitted it on Friday. Well, they want to... Friday's always bad news day now, because by the time we get to Monday morning, that was this morning, and everybody has, we've lost control of our borders. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? We have lost control of our borders. There's more coming in that's being sent out. And the French... I mean, if you look at what happened at the Louvre today, which we will talk about, I'm going to do a kind of deep dive sit rep with the Louvre, because it's just, the poor French, it's like the devil is just sitting there and looking at Macron going, here, mate, man, take your hubby and bugger off. Pun intended. So we'll talk about the Borders. We'll talk about the 42 Club. We'll talk about 3i Atlas. We'll talk about the Royals, because you're not getting the truth. Harry's next, man. Oh, Big Style Willie can't wait to get into the big chair. Right, lads. King Billy. We've all the Orange Lodges. Yo, we've got King Billy on the throne, and we'll talk about digital ID. We'll talk about the Labour Party and the Chinese spies. Labour's done. He knows, Starmer. He knows. He's trying to be some international statesman. Oh, my hairy backside. Robert Reeves, do you know what can you see what she's doing? All right, I'll tell you. I will tell you tonight. And, well, after last night's Is Jaffa Cake a Cake, we're going to look at penguins and club biscuits. Because seemingly, the makers of it are not going to use as much chocolate. So they can't call them chocolate. Looks like a chocolate. Tastes like a chocolate. Looks like shite if you rub it on your clothes, but... So do you want me to bend you over and tell you about the little green men that are coming? And I'm not talking about Ukrainian with spray paint on. Little green men are coming. And I laughed because all the scientists go, wait, no, it's just whoever pays them the money to say it. Don't you get that? Scientists. My hairy backside. Hang on, what's 5, 8, and 13? But you've got all the Christians, you've got all the Muslims, you've got, what is it, 8 or 9 religions, 9 paths to the same one place, one God. But the scientists, and you can't believe them, because you can only believe whoever's paying their wages, that's the output that they get. So science is corrupted. And now they're saying, well, they might just land, and it's so big that they might just land outside of our atmosphere and then just send probes and drones in to have a look at us, the human species. And the James Webb I've written down the James Webb Telegraph. In predictional text. I wasn't watching that. I was doing 3 things. Telescope. Okay, Microsoft, honestly. I wouldn't pee on them if they were on fire. But you know that the OS, OS is Apple. But the Microsoft new software, number 11, well, you're not getting out of that because they're watching everything that you're doing. Oh, you didn't realise. Of course they are. So the James Webb, honestly, I'm going to have to change that because it's absolutely doing my head in, because I look at it for a sort of visual reference. And I can't get telegraph out of my head. I can now. It's a telescope. So the James Webb Telescope, they've trained it on this thing that's flying through space at some ungodly speed. And they're saying, well, what about the flare event? I said, what flare event? Have the football fans been kicking off again? The United States and Australia signed critical minerals agreement as a way to counter China. Now you know why China's not very happy with Starmer. But we will get to that, I promise you. Deep dive into the Chinese soon. So the James Webb Telescope has seen this thing, and there was a flare event, and they're saying, well, it's got traces of carbon dioxide and water and nickel and cobalt. Oh, I say, we'll be able to make more electric vehicles if it's got cobalt. Brilliant. Oh, where's the Doom Goblin when you need her? Oi, get there, Thunberg, Doom Goblin. Where are you? Oh, I was so upset at being lifted by the Israelis. Oh, right, okay. Being picked up by the fuzz, better than being swung by the tits. So, I say, Adrian, did that come out of your potty mouth? I am the Reverend. I can say anything I want. I'm next to godliness, like the bloke upstairs. You know, big silver beard, wings, plays a harp, wears a halo. He's my gaffer. So anybody going, oh, I'm rather upset at what you're saying, Randy Reverend. Well, be upset. I'll have a word with the bloke upstairs, man. Obviously, he'll reward you in heaven. That's if you make it that far. But do you know the other thing? This 3i Atlas is pulsing. It's a technical term that we use in sciences and religion, obviously. I mean, how do they know it's pulsing? Seemingly, it gives off every 4 hours, it gives off some kind of signal. And some scientist somewhere in the world, obviously being paid far too much, has said either it's unknown cosmic chemistry or this is engineered. I mean, or the Fibonacci sequence. So you think that they don't know what it is, they don't know where it's come from, they think it's engineered, but it might just be cosmic chemistry, and we've never had one of those for a long time, so to speak. Happens when you get at my age. It's single bag at the night. So you were told on this channel what they were going to do in 2027. They might have brought it forward, or the little green men have put it into hyperdrive, warp speed, Captain, and they've put it into hyperdrive, and they're getting here early. Can you imagine? Little green aliens. I told you 2027. I thought that was the deal. Well, you sent out the signal that we caught a few years ago. And we're just coming to say, hello, hello, can we have your gold? No. Well, we'll just kill you all off then. But why do you want our gold? Well, we've got none. Yeah, but we want our gold because we've mined our gold, and you're just coming here to pick up the bricks. Yeah? Now, one, if little green men were going to come here, and they were able to come here, and they were able, like V, because we've been talking about this for months and months and months. In fact, I must give Des Ashton the credit, because Des, hopefully he's in the body of the Kirk this evening. Yes, first comment. Des just posted 3i Atlas months and months and months ago. And I thought, what the bloody hell's that? Yeah, Tom Arnie says, oh, it's not a predator. Well, Arnie's busy at the minute, so he can't. Terminator versus a predator. So when Des posted about it, 3i Atlas, I was like, what the bloody hell's that? And I said at the time, Des, what's that, man? So I said, don't worry, I'll do my research. Get him off air. Went and did my research, and it was like, oi, little green men, man. And it's kind of, its plume, shall we say, in the cosmic sense, is made up of stuff that it shouldn't be made up of. It's a bit like a comet's fart. So the comet's farting, and everybody's going, oh, I say. Brilliant, Les. Probably coming to pick Ed Miliband up and take him home. Oh, if only. He is a bit of a space cadet. Oi. So I'm going to ask you a question. I've got to ask you a question, because I do enjoy your cynicism. You being a cynical old tart along with me. We're all cynical old tarts together. Des was very early doors on that. He was Soul Rebel. Hopefully it's not xenomorphs. Is it going to be a ghost? Might be here to put the willies up you. I know a few people that will enjoy that. The comet went to Curry's. I hope it doesn't offend anyone. Can you imagine little green men? Oi! We've been watching the Theatre of the Mind. Yeah, you can Foxtrot Oscar. Oh, I say. You've even got his phraseology. Yeah, well, come to Nicky Gold. Paulie, I saw that before you deleted it, you wrong'un. They are now showing the picture of 3i Atlas. Are they? On telly. Fruit pastels. Ooh. Don't distract me with food. I've had no dinner. We will have to take them to Starmer, for fuck's sake. Do you know, can you imagine? We're called humans. And you come to us, we take you to our leader. Well, the one that thinks he's a leader, but he's not a leader really. So we'll take you to Sakia Starmer. Not quite sure how you're going to handle him. Certainly not with two hands. Can you imagine the aliens? We've been watching this bloke that thinks he's a reverend. What's one of them? Oh, I say, the Battenberg does what? Can you imagine? The aliens, we came here for gold, but we're taking the Battenberg because that fecker there that was driving this comet, he stank for 300 years. We'll take some the Bovril 3I, a lump of debris coming from a supernova explosion. Well, I'm getting to the point, the Bovril, that they told us there was going to be an alien interaction all the time since what's its face, Area 51, when we caught the aliens and we're reverse engineering. That's how you get microwaves. That's how, well, we went to the moon, seemingly, but we didn't really, and that's where we got the technology from. And the Baco foil. So, munchies. It'll be like a scene from that Mars Attacks movie. It'll be brilliant. Brilliant. Maybe not to go off on a tangent, because I'm not. It's the guy behind The Simpsons has been listed on Epstein's in Joffrey's book, and well, if he's not predicted it, and I think he did about 20 years ago in The Simpsons, that aliens are going to land. So I'm being not facetious, because look, I'm hedging me bets. I am the Reverend. If they come and land, then that's my career over with. Because how's the Bible going to explain the aliens? Oh yeah, Alan, or 1,000,000 to 1. Oh, War of the Worlds. Might have a listen to that. Brilliant, brilliant album. So, if the aliens land, that's the Roman Catholics done. They're not going to be able to shag your kids anymore. That's the Muslims done. They won't be able to shag your northern kids anymore. That'll be the MPs done. They won't be able to shag your kids anymore. So actually, I am hoping for little green men coming out with their blasters, their Nerf guns, going, right, yeah, wrong'uns, we've been watching YouTube, and we know what you're up to. That bloody Rev, right, the only aliens, the Bovril, the only aliens on Earth are those coming in by the rubber boats. Correct, and they're illegal. Oh, can you imagine? Little green men appear like floating in just outside of our atmosphere with a great big megaphone going, right, where's me free phone? Where's me free house? Where's me free everything, you wrong'uns? We're illegal and we're aliens. Is everybody going to start playing Carpenter's records? Calling occupants of interplanetary craft? And everybody's like, oh, I say, the bloody green men are here. Bloody thing. And then Charles comes out and went, oh, well, I went to see the Pope. And the Pope says, don't believe a word that bespectacled arse says on YouTube, Charles, mate. Because everybody's running around asking, Charlie, anybody, Charlie? It's a thing. Yeah, exactly. The Bible, the same way it explained the dinosaurs. I hope aliens visit the WEF and Blofeld. Yes, Stephen. I don't think they would have to, because I think, as they're saying, the wealthy shadow dwellers are basically saying to everyone, can we have aliens next? The vanguard of the Vogon destructor fleet. Bless you, Des Ashton. Did we land on the moon? Is Atlas real? I see you. No. Well, it's a distraction. It's a massive distraction, and they're paying the scientists to be distracted. So I was going to ask you a question. It's me distracted like the scientists. I was going to ask you a question. Do you believe that 3i Atlas is aliens? 1 for yes, 2 for no, 3 for I know nothing. 1 for yes, 2 for no, and I don't know. If you leave me now, you take away the biggest part of me. Bless you. Have you got the pictures? Why would they be aggressive and wanting to rule? Maybe they would want to help. We could do with some help. Yeah, the Donald could do some help with his hair. So I've asked you, do you believe in aliens? And it's no. Oh, Louise Hampson saying, I don't know. But Napoleon Bonaparte and Alan and Penny Hen and Amanda Sky are all, and Theo Bovril, all twos. Stuart, Super Ted, I see you in English bottle cap, but there's Andrew James sticking his neck out going, actually, it's only a distraction if you allow yourself to be distracted. Correctamundo. We have Lionel Lake non-rehearsed going, not sure. Not sure. Paul West. Yeah. Ian McGee, legal lister. In the words of the great Chinese philosopher named Paul Galtieri, it's all bollocks. Tom, quite a few threes actually tonight. BD Cool says 2, but I wish it was 1. I mean, I watched V in the 70s. Scared the bejesus out of me. I don't want them coming in and eating my next door's pussy. I don't. It just will make an awful mess. Oh, Hewitt Super Sub, you see? Bluebeam, methinks. Operation Bluebeam. Did I not do I did a deep dive on Bluebeam a few months ago. Maybe I'll have to dig that out for you again. But thank you, Hewitt Super Sub. You have wasted a lot of time and energy pushing the alien shit over the last few months. Better start your period, Wookfit. I hope they are all like Paul, the alien. Simon Clarkson says, live in a camper van, turn on and tune out. Very good, Simon. So, Beata says, can I ask you a question, Adrian? Is it true that he was abused at 14 by a famous person? If so, shouldn't he be named and shamed? Depends who's telling you, Beata. Depends who's telling you. There are rumours. He said no. He's denied that has happened at 14. And I'm teasing you, Terry. And no, I think it's more complex than that. But just to respond to your comment, Les Griffiths says, there is an Egyptian scroll stating flying silver discs passed overhead for several moments seen by Pharaoh and his court. There is a carving on one of the Egyptian palaces or tombs or when I visited Egypt a few years ago, I didn't get a chance to go to, is it Dendera? I'm not sure. But it actually shows spacecraft of sorts. So are we at the point with AI where I'm waiting, that lagged a little bit there. So they have a spaceship in one of the palaces or one of the tombs in, they've got light bulbs and stuff carved into the rock by the Egyptians. I believe that they're talking about technology, building the pyramids, the technology. They've put carvings into Nicholas says, Big Mike Elliott says, if aliens landed in Teesside, they would leave a few bob and fuck off back to Mars. And Mike would know. Great man. Great man. So if there's a technology that the Egyptians were aware of, it was because they were I would suggest, they were using natural stuff to connect with maybe their God, maybe with, because not to go too deep. We can if you want, because deep's always good. It's like sex and squats. If they're not deep, don't count. Abydos carvings. Thank you, Andrew. We didn't get down to Abydos. And can you imagine? Alan says Starmer will give them all benefits. Oh no. So I would suggest that, Graham Hancock and the like are talking about lost civilizations. Well, these lost civilizations, they could barely scratch their arse in the desert. They didn't have anything. And the people that were building the pyramids, according to the tour guides that took us around some of the pyramids, they would just get paid in beer and bread. And that was the best that they would get. But it was the equivalent to being a Premier League football if you were building the pyramids. But how they did that, was it with sound? Was it with some technology that they'd been given directly from the gods? And if you look at the headdresses of the pharaohs, the snake means that they had divine power, as in they had psychic power. So no wonder the witches and psychics have been persecuted for hundreds, if not thousands of years. But they may have been able to use whatever was given to them directly from their god, or however that I'll use meditation for ease of use, but I'm sure it was something much deeper than that. Cell Rebel says, defo something funny about the ancient Egyptians. So advanced technology. Yeah. And as I found out last night, every day's a school day. The Egyptians invented the kilt. English bottle cap. The Nazca lines in Peru are massive geoglyphs created between 500 BC and 500 AD, featuring animals and shapes visible mainly from the air, possibly linked to religious practices. So if you're able to, and I've done, as I've mentioned many times, I've done ayahuasca in the Peruvian Amazon. I did it 4 times in 5 days. You know, all these, and the shaman are now saying it's not a good time. The energy's not good for ayahuasca at the minute. I've no idea why. Well, Stephen Hall says, were the gods aliens? Wasn't it Chariot of the Gods? Was that Graham? Yeah. And the German, oh, I can see him, but I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Yeah, they've written books. Yeah, they still can't work out how the Egyptians carved the granite. Look, I had my honeymoon in Peru 2 years ago, and I was sitting there whilst the new Mrs. Allen went off and climbed stuff, and I was like, no, I can't be bothered. I need to conserve my energy. Yeah, exactly, BD Cool. They smoked some crazy hash back in those days. And so I was sitting there at the bottom of this Ole Tai Tambo. I can't remember what the name of the town was, but it was impoverished. But they had this granite carved at 90-degree angles, as smooth as a baby's bum. And I sat there while the new Mrs. Allen was away. I was thinking, what is this? And either that's Fallujah or it's Diwali, one of the two. Prince Andrew says it was possible he was pictured with Virginia Giuffre. Of course he was. We'll get back to that. Let me just make a very. Let me get rid of that. I just want to have a look at where is he? Oh, right, okay. Let me just make a quick note of that rather than write it down. That boy's a clown. Andrew is as thick as that. I mean, it's like clubbing a baby seal together. What he's trying to justify himself. Anyway, I'll park that to one side. I'll come back to it. So in Peru, they talk about a tribe before the Aztecs. They talk about tribes that had knowledge, sacred knowledge, not secret knowledge, sacred knowledge, and that's why they had wise men who would I don't know, would get in contact with spirit or God or whomever it was. Hang on. Oh, Terry, where's the where's the biggest sales area for Buggy? Rusty's Rummies. I bet the slimy sod's sweating now. So there has been technology that's been lost in the mists of time. And, you know, some of the Graham Hancock and the like are trying to... Von Daniken, thank you. So, Rebel, had a touch of Montezuma's revenge before, eh? Yeah, definitely did. Bonnie Bridge. The Aztecs were Central American. They didn't extend to Peru. So who the fuck was in Peru then, Terry? The Peruvians? Fuck off. Ain't the aliens already here in Area 51? Oh, Tataria. Are we going down that route, Les? So there has been lost technology, whatever that may be. So 3i Atlas is the rescue TWAM for those at Area 51. Well, NASA seems to have lost the blueprints for the Apollo spacecraft. I know, Alan, but the reason why I'm mentioning this is aliens, like aliens, would have technology that, even though, as I say, I've seen firsthand what the Peruvians, the little Peruvians, have been able to do with Nout. I mean, they're impoverished and they've got no food, let alone tools that would create 90-degree angles with the smoothness of a baby's bum. And yeah, true, Les, we've been lied to about past civilizations. So you've got a situation where they're trying to divert our attention from something to something else. The thing is, if they want to crash all of the economies at the same time, an aliens story would be perfect, because they want it all in gold. They want it into central bank digital currencies. But how are they going to transition from that to that? Des Ashton says, Stargate, only way to travel. So these aliens, if they've got the technology, that was the point I was trying to make about the Peru and the stones and various carvings in Egypt. They would have the technology just to appear like that. Just to drop the veil and then, oh, hello, spaceship in the sky. Little green men. They wouldn't take months to travel here, would they? Because how are they going to eat? I mean, I know I'm being facetious. But how are they going to eat? Unless aliens don't. I mean, have you seen videos of the rods? They're saying they're aliens and they're here. But nobody talks about the rods. The rods are a bit like millipedes that kind of fly. And they're here. People have seen them. So I don't know. I don't believe that aliens would come traveling for 6 months or more or years. Alan, they brought ration packs with them. I don't. Aliens just wouldn't spend months and months and months in space traveling towards us to turn up and go, hello, we're aliens. They wouldn't. So, Phil Levan says, I'm waiting for Starmer to piss God off and get some wrath. Oh, it's coming. It is coming. I mean, the Chinese spy thing is basically... that's interesting. I'm going to have to press a button. Alan says, they are in suspended animation like an alien movie. So I've got 2 different amounts of people watching this at the moment. And smash the likes on the way in, your Rollins. Let me just refresh the page and see what comes up. Well, Terry, I will thank you for that, and I will go and have a look after the live, because I have the same book that the wow. We definitely could talk about archaeology, Terry. I just believe that the whole world economy has to crash. Firstly, because there's $37 trillion worth of debt that Trump wants to get rid of. Although I was thinking earlier before I came on air, and I know I'm kind of dancing around with a lot of subjects tonight, but it's basically a sit-rep, a catch-up. So a bit like the Labour Party in this country. It used to be the two-party system until we found them out when Blair got into power. It used to be the two-party system. And the two-party system would be Labour would bankrupt the country because they're fuckwits, and the Tories would come in because they like to think that they're corner shop owners, and they would balance the books, and then they would get corrupt, and then we would kick them out to bring Labour back in, and Labour would do exactly the same thing, like Gordon Brown. Oh, I wish I could tell you what I know about that man. No, I can't. Has anyone watched Skinwalker Ranch thing on Sky History? Very interesting stuff. I haven't, Lauren, but thank you for the prompt. What do I know about Skinwalker? Linda, I'm sure they've got great acceleration, but I just don't know how they're going to get here in one piece, to be fair. So I was thinking earlier that even if Trump balances the books in America, $37 trillion, and he has the gold, he has the wherewithal, he has the business acumen to be able to do that. But I just think that if not the Republicans, but if somebody else gets into power, then they're just going to bankrupt the country again, because that's all Labour do. So you know the way that it works. And I'll give it to you again. Politicians are not politicians. They're not. They're crooks. And how the game works is they get the money abroad into an NGO, a non-governmental organisation, and they wash it, like in Ukraine, the biggest laundromat in the world ever. They have it washed, and then it comes back into their trouser pocket. So if we get to a situation, and included in this country, if we get to a situation where the books are balanced, we're no longer in debt, you can guarantee that the crooks, the moronic people, the MPs in a Zempic palace will then run the country back into the ground and put us back into debt, so that the money, the wealth, is transferred from our taxes to them. That's the game. It used to be really clever. We could never find it out because we weren't so informed, sophisticated. We didn't have access to all of this truth-telling. So I believe that even if Trump gets America out of $37 trillion worth of debt, then the Democrats will take them back into it and will just rinse as much money as possible out of the system. Yes, ban the BBC, the trickle-up effect. Karina Jane can't, too dangerous. I will tell you this, though. There was a docudrama made about a dinner that Blair had with Brown. And there was only two people there. So I'm not quite sure how, I think it was the BBC, found out about the conversation that went on. And basically, these two boys, Brown and Blair, had stuff on each other. Not going to go into that detail. But Blair, seemingly, according to this docudrama, said to Brown, "You can foxtrot Oscar. I'm going to be Prime Minister. You're not, whilst I'm around. But I'll do 10 years, and then I'll step back. And then you can be Prime Minister if you want. But whilst I'm Prime Minister, you can be my Chancellor. And don't argue, because I've got this. And that was put on a TV drama. And I was like, how the hell did they get that out? But that's as close to the truth as you're ever going to get. Because it's never going to come out. Ever. So, and I was going to post something today. I'm going to leave it for a video tomorrow. Well, I'm going to do some stuff around Blair, because that boy's evil. There is absolutely no doubt in my head. In my view, it's my personal opinion, that Blair is one of the most evil individuals we've ever had the misfortune of coming into contact with. A bit like Netanyahu, but Blair is after billions and billions and billions. Because look, what the Clintons did when they came out of office. I mean, you know that the American government had to ask. I think it was either Bill or Hillary. There was some ashtrays that belong to the White House, and they've disappeared in your stuff. Can we have them back, please? Matthew Whedon says, I call him the devil. I'm with you. I'm with you. He scares the bejesus out of me because I know what he's up to. Tony Blair's turning into a Tory, says Garen Davis. He was always a Tory. Always. New Labour. Centrist. What was the name of the show, Aid? So Rebel, I can't remember. It won't be on iPlayer. It won't. I mean, I'll do some digging, but it was kind of a docudrama, and it was all about this dinner that Blair and Brown had, and they kind of danced around it, because I'd been told by someone who was an amazing informant, told me exactly what went on. And they didn't quite get to it in the docudrama. But that's okay, because it will come out, especially when he dies. I'll still be kicking and flinging, so I'll tell you then. Can't tell you. Do your research, Paulie. Blair and Brown were at loggerheads much of the time. Of course they were, because Brown thought he was more the intellectual than Blair. Graham Linehan speaks out as absurd police probe over tweets is dropped. We'll get to that in a second. But Brown, and I'm intellectually, I'm having to dance around this, because I'm just having to dance around with this. But I will tell you that Blair and Brown were at each other's throats, because Brown believed he was the greater intellectual, and in my view, looked down on Blair. But Blair had the charisma, and I believe that Brown was always jealous of Blair's charisma. A bit like when it came to the end of the Labour Party, Brown was Prime Minister, and exactly, Alan says, I loved it when that woman heckled Gormless Brown. Yeah. Oh, Don Wigley, you absolute legend. Yeah, it's called The Deal. That's the one. And they don't go deep enough, from what I know. Yeah. Where is it on? Is it on the BBC, Dom? Interesting, Des. To look cleanly into the past, you remove the lens of today's preconceptions. It's a bit like my dad was heavily into the Labour movement. Oh, Channel 4. Right, okay, get a defendant. If it's still up there, if you can still watch it, watch it. Because I sat and watched it, and I thought, how are they getting away with this? How are they getting away with this? But they didn't go deep enough that they were going to be sued or taken off air. But Brown was hugely jealous of Blair. Sorry, Brown was hugely jealous of Blair. And that stayed with him. Andrew James says, Blair wanted to be a rock star. How the heck did he get to the top? Were his parents famous? I'm with you, Theo Bovril. Andrew, no, they weren't. But Don Wigley, rejected by ITV, ended up on Channel 4. Gillian Duffy, yeah, that bigoted woman. Oh, well, that did for him. That did for him. And it's a bit like Starmer, the only reason that Starmer is still in power because he's the Labour Party, the Labour Executive Committee. He's their useful idiot. He got them into power. They're trying to work out now how they can stay in power for 2 terms. Maybe it's the bloody illegal aliens. Bless them. But check it out. Channel 4, thank you to Don Wigley for doing that bit of research. What did you say it was called? The Deal? Yeah. So check it out on Channel 4 if it's still on there. In fact, if I get chance over the next few days, I'll also watch it, and then I'll give you my take. I'll give you... So all I'm going to say is this, because someone asked how the hell he got into power. So do you know what I know, Terry? So tell me. It had to be a drama, and they had to say, I think at the beginning, it was, this is a drama, but based on real events. Interesting, ghetto defendant. Blair, Brown and Mandelson. Mandelson wasn't there for the deal. He wasn't there. Sam says, I was born in the noughties, never understood why Labour has so much support. They don't now. They don't. Because people have seen Labour for what it is. They're just liars. Abject liars. But as I have said to you many, 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 many times, what is it that the shadow dwellers have got on these political puppets that they just comply with everything that they're told to comply with? I'll say that to you again. Because politics is based on corruption and blackmail. We never saw it back in the day because they appeared to be old duffers. But they're not old duffers. Intellectually, they're very sharp. They might look like old men and women, but they're not. So, what is it that the shadow dwellers, the Rothschilds et al., the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, oh, interesting, Des. John Prescott took Blair and Brown to Mr. Chu's in a Chinese restaurant in Hull to broker the Blair-Brown pact, and Blair reneged when he thought he had the chance to become PM longer than Thatcher. They only allowed him to do that. I don't think it was Prescott. Prescott was a friend of my dad's. I can't, Terry. I've just told you I can't. You're in Scotland. Do your research. It's all about Scotland, Terry. Angie Hunter and other Blair staffers appeared in the deal. Did they really get a defendant? But Blair left 2007. 18 years it's taken him to wheel and deal, and obviously we had 9/11. No, I can't be baited, Terry. Honestly, seriously, it's no. I literally, I can't even. More often than not, I will try and work around, even when it's live. I'll try and work around stuff. But what I know, I can't give you any names, can't give you any situations, and I can't give you anything further. Away from here, I will. But not on here. I'm not that stupid. It was Prescott who was a broker. So the meal for the deal, Alan says, actually, Adrian, I remember there was a deal, some kind of deal between them. It was talked about quite a lot at the time. But it's... English bottle cap. AI says Tony Blair and Gordon Brown shared a meal in Hull after Lord Prescott's funeral on January the 30th, 2025 at his favourite Chinese restaurant. Griffiths, Prescott was as thick as a shit sandwich. You see, but Labour love that. They love the working man and woman. Look at Ginger Growler. They still want her to be Prime Minister, if there's a country left. But there's... Oh, it was an open secret, Terry. But the minute the deal went on TV, everything... A bit like Diana being a virgin for a wedding. No, she wasn't. But it was one of those... do you think John Smith would have made a good PM before my time, though? Yeah, I think he would have done. Isn't that why they fell out? Because Blair wouldn't keep his side of the bargain and concede the leadership to Brown? It's kind of ghetto defendant. So it's... So my recollection from my informant, and I was living and working in London at the time, they just said to me, deal's been brokered, and then went into the detail. And I was like, oh, fucking way. Yeah, do you remember this? And do you remember this? And do you... all right, Terry, I'll give you the clue. I know you're very, 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 very good at research. Research a D notice in Scotland. And don't publish the findings on here. So there's a D notice being published in Scotland over something that was talked about in that meal. And nobody, you don't need one of these injunctions, super injunctions or anything. And I know this sounds like I'm kind of plucking stuff out of fog, but Terry, you're an intelligent guy. I'm speaking in riddles. I can't do it on here, man. I can't. It's too dangerous. You've got a useful idiot in Starmer. Blair tried to have a useful idiot in Brown. And they had a meal. And the conversation was around Tony Blair telling Gordon Brown, you back off and you let me be PM. Otherwise, I'll have this published. I've said to you many, many, many times in these lives, the stuff that I know, I can't bring here. I'll have my brake pipes cut. So as I was saying, I'll give you an example of how the mainstream media will manage something. Can't remember what an Operation Or is, Andrew. So I'll tell you this story. I've told you this story before, but it's around Princess Diana. And so I was watching the telly just before the wedding, and Diana's dad came out and said, of course my daughter's a virgin. Now, me being a cynical old tart, I suddenly went, what? How many fathers do you know will tell the world, my daughter's a virgin? So, again, very, very, very good source told me, well, exactly, Stuart, I'm going to tell you how he didn't know. But it was because everybody wanted to have the fairy tale princess wedding. It had to be a fairy tale. And I'd heard that a coquettish Diana daughter to the lord of the manor. Yeah. Jesus' mum Mary, her dad said she was a virgin. So the coquettish Diana, who would have been mid-teens, she was legal, of course, and there was obviously farmhands on the estate, and Diana was rubbing them up the right way, shall we say? And one of the farmhands she was flirting with, and da 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 da. You know exactly what I'm saying, and you know exactly what happened. And then the locals, so the farmhand would go into the local pub, and if anybody bought him enough Guinness, he would wait, and then tell everybody the story about deflowering the Lord's daughter. And when it was announced that Diana was going to marry the future King of England, men in suits and dark sunglasses at night appeared in the village, appeared in the pub. And it was announced that she was going to marry future King of England, and no matter how hard the locals tried, and no matter how many beers they bought for him, the minute they said, "Oh, go on, tell us that story about deflowering the sire's daughter," he would just go, no. So he was warned off. So why would men in suits and dark glasses at night appear in the village, go into the pub and just have a quiet word and somebody shell like? Because they knew. And he never mentioned it again. And then her daddy shuffled off. Why would you go on worldwide TV and say, "My daughter's a virgin"? Nicholas says Club Fiesta Norton had more virgins. Blimey, I've been in there a few times. So it's, again, I'll reiterate by telling you this. What is it that they've got on Starmer? And it being thank you for that. It's thrown me now. Yes. What would they have on any leader? They had nout on Thatcher. Thatcher was straight up and down. That's why they hated her so much, because they couldn't do what they normally do. And it's only over the last 20 years that the corruption and the blackmail has literally just become a thing. Compromat is a massive thing. And I know it's gone on for 80 odd years before look at Mata Hari. You've got for 100 years men and women doing things to compromise spies, and spying has always happened. Yeah, I agree, Des. So it's compromat has always existed. And I've mentioned the Manchurian Candidate thing for months and months and years, because I believe that Starmer is a Manchurian Candidate of sorts. He's working on another organization's agenda, whether it be the World Economic Forum or the Chinese Communist Party. He's working on behalf of them because he's literally killing this country. So, a very good point, but I will counter it. Do they need something on Starmer if he actually agrees with the policies that he wants to bring in? I wouldn't say that he agrees, because he's up to stuff in the background. Fun Boy 3, Coca-Cola on the train. He's up to stuff which would kill his political career. But he's protected because he's doing the bidding of the powerful people. And I've said this before. When I've been in Davos, I've spoken to the locals and talked about how many bloody Chinese were there for the World Economic Forum. And people within the World Economic Forum and the locals at Davos have complained that there's too many bloody Chinese coming to the World Economic Forum. How would that be? How would that be? So I believe that with the Chinese spy story, it's gone too far. Before I get to the Chinese, so at the moment we have, I'll get the digital ID once I've cleaned this up and cleared this up. We have a situation where Trump is battling the Chinese. The Chinese are really pissed off at Trump because they know that if he starts to control any kind of financial or exert any kind of financial control around the world, whether he's got the digital currencies, then China is not going to be the superpower that China thinks it is. And remember, because this is coming, I've told you about China in Davos, Trump battling the Chinese, but Davos, more importantly, Klaus Schwab, the Marxist, the communist, you will own nothing, but be happy. So whatever it is that they've got on Starmer, and look, this week he's got a face like a smacked arse. He knows what's coming. So either he's being told, Bonnie lad, you're out. He knows. And I believe that the cover-up is the equivalent of Watergate. It did for Tricky Diggy. But every country has spies. Every country. I mean, I don't know. What do they do? Sit and watch the telly and go, Britain's fucked. And all of the intelligence services are screaming at Starmer, whether it's MI5 or MI6 or the Department of Public Prosecutions. They know, all the intelligence services know that Labour is rotten to the core. And this won't go away. It won't. Because they're done. Now, are they going to... Is he a useful idiot so that the Labour Party will see him for the local elections, which they're trying to ban next year? Call it democracy? Only dictators do that. And China, who are building a super embassy in London, and now that there's scrutiny on this super embassy in London, people are just... The Chinese are kicking off. The intelligence services are kicking off. The Chinese are going to be like a fox in a chicken coop. They're going to be right in our midst. And this won't go away. It is going to do for Starmer and his government. But they don't know how to get out of this because, I mean, if you look at Starmer going over to meet with Trump and Trump beckoning him to the lectern and then basically turning his back on him. And Starmer just looking like a naughty little boy. Trump knows exactly who Starmer is. Exactly. Even though it might not be out in the public domain. I mean, my sources are telling me that Xi Jinping, president of China, is not very well. And Putin's got his health issues. They're all old boys now. They're all getting to be old boys. So I will ask you this question. What the bloody hell have they got on Starmer to make him comply? But who allowed this to be dropped? I mean, everything is managed to within an inch of its life out of number 10 and the communications people. So who allowed this to be dropped? And who said what and when? Now, over the next few days, I'm going to have some spare time around all the reportage on the Chinese spy ring, the connections with... Oh, by the way, you think Prince Andrew has kind of stepped back and been told to Foxtrot Oscar because of his shagging with Virginia Giuffre? I think you'll find it's got everything to do with the bloody Chinese. What do you mean? I'm going to tell you over the next few days. Because I'm sitting there looking at the newspapers, busting my incontinence pants. Because you're being diverted away from the very thing you should be looking at. And what you should be looking at is what the business deals were with the Chinese that involved Prince Andrew. Now, the witness statements around this trial that was flattened has sort of come forward. But it's the cover-up that's going to do for him, like Watergate. It was the cover-up that did for Tricky Dicky. It wasn't the actual, breaking in. There's loads of people do that professionally. It's like people think that, we watch it on the telly, so it can't be true because we watch it on the telly. Where do you think the telly got it from? Les says, we can play together soon. He said in one of his emails to Epstein. Look, they don't want to upset the Chinese. The Chinese need stability. The Chinese want to pay a shit ton of money into our economy to have this super embassy. So it's all about the Benjamins. But you can't have that in the mainstream media. You can't know who actually got backhanders from the Chinese Communist Party. You can't know who the Chinese Communist Party paid. No. What do you think these two bloody spies were doing? They're called spies for a reason. And there's been other Chinese spies that they've literally eviscerated out of the mainstream media. Can you not remember them? There was Chinese spies in Parliament. The reason why you don't remember it is because they didn't allow it to go any further. Keep watching. Your government loves you. X Factor's going to be on the telly soon. So digital ID, I'm going to give you a blueprint. I'm going to give you what has happened elsewhere in the world. I keep telling you to watch Canada and Australia and New Zealand. Because whatever happens there, happens here down the line. But if you want a blueprint for digital ID, look at Thailand. The blueprint for digital control, we shouldn't really call it digital ID, we should call it digital control. And I've already told you, it's not about the digital ID, it's about the infrastructure that they're putting in place, that you're not going to be able to get rid of, and neither's Farage. Civil commitment. You see, when you put the pieces of the jigsaw together, you realise it is just a game, it's a front. But when I said to you civil commitment months ago, it was like, oh, that's not very interesting, Adrian. It is now. So Thailand has become, in my view, a chilling, real-world case study for the dangers of a fully integrated digital control and biometric control grid. How's that then, Adrian? Well, the system, it's being sold to you and I as a convenience, whether it's for your NHS, whether it's for the illegal aliens or 3i Atlas, whether it's anything. It's all being sold into you because they know that we will reject it. We will reject it outright. They've had a go. Blair had a go before. It's going to be rejected outright, and there will be rioting on the streets of this country if they try and impose it on us. It's too far. What I believe they're going to do is they're going to take it as far as they can, implement as much as they can of the infrastructure so that they'll say, oh, okay, you've won. No digital ID. We're not going to bring digital ID in. Stuff you. And you've got the infrastructure still in place. Digital ID doesn't matter. So that when Farage comes in, Farage says, look, I'm really sorry. You won with digital ID. You won, as in you and I. But once the infrastructure's in place, they've just got to let it roll. And then Farage comes in and says, look, we're going to need some kind of digital ID to keep up with the rest of the world. And if he sells it in as the man on the street, it's going to come in. So in Thailand, The system sold as a convenience placed every citizen's financial life under one roof. The result? Totalitarian control at the touch of a button. Over 3 million bank accounts were frozen simultaneously, without warning, due to government overreach, in my view. But that didn't include the 86 million bank accounts in Vietnam that were cancelled. Now, Vietnam's got, is it over 200 million people there? So 86 million bank accounts it's not a nothing, but it's still something that is not going to upset people. Just remember, digital ID, every transaction is monitored. Any perceived discrepancy is flagged as fraud and punished, this is in Thailand, without due process. So victims are locked out instantly. If you go to the shop and you've, called the local councillor a wanker, press the button, you can't buy any food. Can't fill your gas tank. Access your own money that you've worked for. You're completely removed from the financial system with no explanation. Now look at Farage. They tried to debank him. Imagine trying to debank him. And now they've got a button to make sure that he can't use his digital ID. And in Thailand, this has triggered a full-scale crisis. I'm not over-egging the pudding when I say panic has ensued. Retailers, fearing they'll be next, are now refusing cards and demanding cash. Public confidence in the government and the banking system has evaporated. The government overreach has backfired spectacularly. The people are now rationally fleeing the digital banking system, rediscovering the critical need for cash as a safeguard against tyrannical control. Thailand is not an anomaly. It is the test case. It is a live fire demonstration of what a central bank digital currency, CBDC, and digital ID system will enable. It is the ultimate weapon of social and financial control. And the lesson is clear. This is why I am suggesting we must reject it. The time to wake up and defend financial sovereignty is now. And two things. One, China is the biggest state-based threat to the British economy, as someone said today. And also, don't you realise what happened with Amazon today, where the social platforms didn't work? And the hackers can get all of your details, all of your data. And if that had been digital ID today, and you couldn't have got access to buy food, or literally you need some petrol to go, go and drive your car, and you get to the petrol station and they refuse your digital ID. I can't believe, in all honesty, that these people are this stupid. The political classes. I can't believe they're this stupid, because they know we're going to rise up. They know that we're not going to accept it. They know. So what they are doing is implementing the infrastructure. So when you reject digital ID, we will turn around and go, we won. And they'll go, yeah, okay. And then in 4 or 5 years, Farage comes in and he can't work any of the systems because the infrastructure is already there. He never put it in place. And you also have, let me just get to the comments. Les Griffiths says, for the first 18 years of my life, I went to bed hungry. Never again. Actually, we can't say that because we don't know what kind of stringent controls that they're after. $3 million people signed the petition. Starmer rejected it. Of course he did, because there's other people telling him what to do and what to say and how to do it. Let me have a look at this. So, Prince Andrew, I may have been pictured with Virginia Giuffre. Can you remember what his team, his lawyers said? That's not him. That picture's been doctored. And now there's rumours coming out that Andrew's saying I may have been pictured with Virginia Giuffre. Because it's in her book tomorrow. Well, I think I'm going to call it a night at that. No live tomorrow. It's week 4 of my Mankind Project charity work. Runs for 9 weeks, I think. So almost halfway there. The next live, Wednesday, 7:15 for Parish Notes, 7:30 for the live itself. So smash the likes on the way out, you wrong. Please get me over 100. And I hope you enjoyed the chat. Yeah, get a defendant, Prince Andrew. I cannot recall ever meeting that woman. Here's a cheque for £12 million. So thank you for your likes, your subscriptions, but most of all, your indulgence. And thank you for smashing them to get me over 100. Whatever you do, wherever you go, be well, stay safe, take emergency Battenberg with you, just in case. And the Theatre of the Mind is not a show. It's a mission. And the mission continues Wednesday, 7:30. Be well. See you then.